put in the time, you've spent the money on firearms training, and you feel ready to exercise your right to carry here in Florida. But what if that certificate you're holding, what if it isn't actually valid when you go to apply for your concealed weapons permit?
Yeah, that's a scary thought. And it's a real potential blind spot for gun owners in Florida.
It really underscores a critical point.
Yeah.
When it comes to legally carrying concealed in this state, some training, well, it just doesn't make the cut.
Exactly. And what's really striking here is this potential gap, between folks trying hard to be responsible gun owners and the very specific legal rules Florida has for concealed carry.
Right.
We're seeing cases where well-known national training programs, they might offer good general info, but they don't always line up with Florida's mandatory requirements.
And that's what we're digging into today. We've looked closely at the Valortech analysis, the one called Florida's CWP requirements unmet by USCCA classes. Here's why. We've also cross-referenced that with the official regs from the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services.
So our mission really is pretty clear.
Yeah, we want to break down exactly what Florida requires for CWP training, explain why some of these nationally known courses often fall short, and basically guide you towards training that will actually, hold up legally.
Okay, so let's start with something really fundamental.
Well,
the live fire training requirement.
the big one.
It is. The Valortech piece makes it absolutely clear. Florida law mandates actual live fire. You have to shoot a real gun under the direct supervision of a certified instructor if you want that permit.
It's not just a suggestion, right? It's baked into the law as a way to show you know how to handle a firearm.
Absolutely mandatory. And this is often a point where some national programs, maybe including some USCCA offerings, can miss the mark.
Like the Valortech analysis pointed out, they might focus more on dry fire practice or maybe simulations.
Which, look, those can be helpful training tools, no doubt. But Florida law specifically demands the physical act of firing a gun while a qualified instructor is watching and assessing.
It has to be real rounds, downrange.
Exactly. And if you think about why Florida insists on this, it makes sense. It's a practical check. Can you safely and, effectively handle that firearm?
Not just talk about it, but actually do it.
Right. It's about ensuring that basic level of hands-on skill. So skipping that live fire component, that just flat out doesn't meet Florida's standard for certification.
Okay, so live fire is non-negotiable. Building on that need for practical supervised experience, Florida is also really specific about who can actually provide that supervision and training.
Oh, definitely. The Valortech analysis really hammers this point home, the crucial role of certified instructors.
Certified by whom specifically?
Well, Florida law spells it out. The state recognizes certifications from specific bodies. Think organizations like the National Rifle Association, the NRA, or even the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services itself.
So not just any experienced shooter.
No. These certifications mean something legally. They confirm the instructor has met a recognized standard for both expertise and teaching ability. That's what the Valortech analysis highlights.
So here's the potential disconnect again. An instructor might be really knowledgeable, maybe certified by a national group like USCCA, have a great reputation.
But their specific certification might not automatically tick the box for Florida's legal requirements for CWP instructors. It's very clearly laid out in the Valortech source.
And Florida sees NRA certification as a sort of gold standard.
That's how Valortech puts it, yeah. And the state explicitly lists the approved certifiers. The NRA, the Criminal Justice Standards and Training Commission, or the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. USCCA isn't on that list.
That's a critical distinction.
It really is. Because instructors certified by these Florida-approved groups are, well, legally on the hook. They're responsible for making sure their training meets Florida's rules.
Their curriculum has to cover Florida-specific stuff.
Exactly. Legal points, practical considerations, all relevant to carrying concealed in Florida. That level of state-specific oversight isn't always there with more generic national programs.
Which leads us right into the next big piece. The actual content of the training. It's not just about handling the gun safely, is it?
Not at all. You absolutely need a solid grasp of Florida's specific laws around concealed carry. The Valortech analysis really stresses this need for state-specific legal content.
Because the laws aren't the same everywhere.
Far from it. And the details matter. Florida has its own unique statutes about, say, where you can and cannot legally carry, how you should interact with law enforcement if you're carrying, and of course, the specifics of Florida's stand your ground law. These aren't universal principles, they are Florida law.
And a course designed for, a national audience might give a broad overview of self-defense law.
But it could easily gloss over or completely miss the critical details unique to Florida. The ValorTech analysis is pretty clear on that risk.
And missing that state-specific legal training, that could lead to serious problems for someone carrying here.
Absolutely. Ignorance of the law, as they say, is no excuse. If your training didn't properly cover Florida's rules, you could unintentionally break the law, even if you think you're doing everything right.
That really drives home the need for training that's focused not just on the firearm, but also on legal compliance within Florida.
It has to be both. Handling skills and legal knowledge tailored to this state.
So let's talk consequences. What actually happens if someone, maybe unknowingly, submits a training certificate from a course that Florida doesn't recognize, like maybe a USCCA class, when they apply for their CWP?
Well, according to the ValorTech analysis, the most immediate outcome is pretty straightforward. Your CWP application is likely going to be denied.
Just reject it outright?
Probably. Florida set the rules for acceptable training. If your course doesn't meet those rules, the application gets kicked back. That means delays, frustration, and, having to go find and pay for another compliant course.
But the potential problems go beyond just a denied application, right? ValorTech also warned about legal liabilities.
Yes, and this is really serious. It touches on your responsibility as the applicant to make sure you're following the law.
What kind of liability are we talking about?
Carrying a concealed weapon in Florida without a valid permit essentially nullifies your legal right to carry. It can lead straight to criminal charges.
Wow. So if your belief that you're legally carrying is based on a non-compliant course,
you could be unknowingly breaking the law and exposing yourself to some very significant legal trouble. It's not a situation anyone wants to be in.
Okay, let's pin down the legal foundation for all this. ValorTech mentioned Florida Statutes, Chapter 790.06. What does that law actually say about acceptable training proof?
Right, 790.06 is the key statute here. It governs concealed carry permits in Florida, and it explicitly lists what counts as proof of firearm competency.
What's on that list?
As ValorTech highlighted, it includes things like completing an approved hunter safety course or specific NRA firearm safety or training courses.
Okay.
It also covers firearms courses from law enforcement colleges or private outfits if they use instructors certified by those bodies we mentioned earlier, the NRA, Criminal Justice Standards, or the Department of Agriculture. And of course, courses taught directly by state-certified instructors.
And the crucial point here, the one ValorTech really emphasizes,
is that USCCA classes are conspicuously not on that list.
It's not an accident then.
No, it seems to be a clear statement that as things stand, that particular training doesn't meet Florida's specific statutory requirements for getting a CWP.
It really shows Florida wants to maintain a particular standard, doesn't it?
It does. The organizations listed in the statute have training programs and instructor certifications that Florida has officially recognized as meeting its benchmarks for safety and, importantly, legal understanding.
Now, ValorTech also brought up a, let's say, slightly sensitive point about the focus of some training providers. This idea of a potential conflict between providing solid training and, well, selling other things.
Yes, that's an interesting consideration, the potential tension between education and marketing or upselling.
How might that play out?
Well, it's natural for any business to promote its products or services, like memberships or insurance, for instance. But the concern raised is whether dedicating significant course time to that kind of promotion might take away from the core training content.
Meaning less time for the mandatory live fire or the Florida-specific laws?
Potentially, yes. If a large chunk of the class is focused on sales pitches, it might squeeze the time available for the critical skills and legal knowledge that Florida actually requires for the permit.
So the risk, as ValorTech seems to suggest, is that you could take a course, maybe feel like you learned a lot because of all the extra materials or the slick presentation.
But you might walk away without actually meeting Florida's specific legal standards. The perception of good training doesn't automatically equal compliant training.
That's a really important caution. You might not have gotten enough live fire, or the instructor wasn't state certified, or the Florida law part was too brief.
Precisely. So you, the person seeking the permit, really need to look past the marketing and confirm the course curriculum and the instructor's credentials line up with what Florida demands.
Okay, let's make this practical. For someone listening in Florida right now who wants to get their CWP the right way, what are the absolute must-do steps based on this velour tech analysis and the state regulations?
Number one, absolutely crucial. Verify the instructor's credentials before you sign up. Don't just take their word for it.
Ask to see proof.
Yes. Ask for proof they are certified by the NRA or the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. Don't assume affiliation with any national group is enough for Florida. Check the specific certification.
Okay, step one, check the instructor's certs. What's next?
Step two, confirm without any doubt that the course includes actual live fire sessions, not as an optional extra, not primarily dry fire. It has to be a core part of the curriculum required for completion. Florida law demands it.
Got it. Live fire must be integral. Anything else?
Yes, one final check. The LoreTech strongly recommends this. Directly confirm the course's approval status with the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. You can call them, check their website.
Double check with the state itself.
Exactly. That gives you the ultimate peace of mind that the training you're investing in is officially recognized and will be accepted for your CWP application.
So let's wrap this up. The main takeaway from our deep dive today seems pretty stark. Florida has very specific mandatory requirements for CWP training.
And many national training programs, including, it appears, often those from USCCA, frequently don't meet these legal standards, usually because of issues with live fire, instructor certification, or the lack of Florida-specific legal content.
And trying to use non-compliant training isn't just inconvenient.
No, it carries real risks. Your CWP application could be denied flat out. And, much more seriously, you could face legal trouble if you carry based on inadequate training, thinking you're legal when you're not.
Which means the responsibility really falls on you, the applicant. You have to do your homework.
Thorough due diligence is key. Verify those instructor credentials. Confirm the live fire component. And if you have any doubt, check directly with the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. Make sure that course is fully compliant with Florida law.
Ultimately, this is all about responsible gun ownership, isn't it? Making sure your right to carry is legally sound and that you truly understand your responsibilities under Florida law.
Absolutely. It's about being legally protected and fully informed as a concealed carrier right here in the Sunshine State. Get the right training, the compliant training, from the start.